Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So today's war, NY is taking on BRAE and we are back again on path 4. So we're quickly boosting up. As we all know, path 4 is one of the bigger trouble areas currently on the map, and our first fight is going to be Domino. So I'm going with fairly big boosts, and yeah, so the Domino is first fight. This Domino has Spite and Unstoppable on her, and that however means it definitely is a hard fight. However, we will be testing out here Quake. Now Quake with Black Widow synergy basically does not get crit fail, and her way does not fail. The one kind of like problem thing obviously still is Spite here, so I do need to rely on my heavy and only blocking or parrying. I cannot dex because as soon as Spite triggers, she's gonna get to her level 1, and that is obviously gonna give us quite a bit of trouble. So here I did make a mistake. I was too slow. I ate a heavy attack. That heavy attack hurt. It crit for like 12k damage. So it did tilt me a bit at the beginning of the fight. However, here we can see that she's going down like quick. So 2 sets of aftershock charges. She's at like 9%. Obviously she has suicides on, so that is helping us to deal some extra damage. Unfortunately, since we're using Quake, we can't capitalize on that recall damage. And for the first try here against the Domino, this was my first time attempting to do this fight with Quake. Even though I took quite a bit of damage, I was fairly happy not to die, because it is a fairly tricky fight. Every other war you can see that node brings in a death. And now we have Korg on Spite and Aspect of War. I will however use pretty much the same tactic here. I do know that this guy has Spite active on him, so I'm just going to rely on my blocks. Unfortunately, I did let go of my heavy there, so I did eat quite a bit of damage from Korg's rock shield, and I did the same mistake again. So we did not start this fight all too well. However, now that we have gotten like more into the fight isn't too difficult. We just need to make sure we do not trigger dex on ourselves. We can trigger dexterity buff if concussion is still active, because in that case Spite wouldn't trigger. Even though we would have a buff active, he would not get the Spite power gain. But now he's at 28%. I still deal with him relatively decently. The problem is going to happen in a second when he's going to go fully unblockable after this set of concussion charges. 5% fight's close. I accidentally heavied him, and I thought I'm going to finish him off with my level 1. I didn't, however, and at this point he's unblockable, so we did make a mistake. 19%. However, my concussions kick in. So first 2 fights of the war, fairly dodgy, but I just need to practice a bit more using Quake in this kind of manner, because it's fairly new to me, and I'm sure I'm going to be more comfortable within upcoming wars. And now in section 2, I'm on path 5. I only have 1 fight there, and it's Heimdall, and I will be using my Aegon for that, because I brought in Aegon for the Thing boss, which I do end up soloing. However, unfortunately, I did lose the footage of the last fight, but don't worry guys, we have a lot of mini boss action, a lot of other interesting fights left. So here with Aegon, I do not want any kind of power boosts. I did add like a health boost just as a bit of a buffer safeguard, but I'm not adding any attack boost to kind of extend this fight, because I'm not worried about Heimdall fight. Even though he's unblockable occasionally and he has a true strike auto block, you can play around with it, and this node doesn't have like stun immunity or limber, so it's a fairly chill kind of easy fight. I just want to ramp up my combo a bit before Thing fight, and yeah, that's about it. So this is like a fairly simple fight. Only thing we really need to kind of look at is that unblockable timer, not to try and parry him while he's unblockable. And obviously he has a chance to auto block us if he has a true strike active on him. Therefore I'm not trying to attack him whenever he has true strike active. I'm trying to get a parry in, and while he is parried, stunned, he cannot auto block us. So it's a fairly kind of easy fight. You need to be a bit patient, you need to know what you're doing, you can't rush in, don't punish his special attacks because of that auto block chance. Obviously you can play this fight a lot riskier, but I would not recommend it. Like here we just waited that unblockable to expire, landed a parry, and got in a combo. Once again he throws his level 1. Now here it was a fairly close just before he became unblockable. I landed my parry, so this was like a slightly riskier part of the fight, I suppose. But other than that, as we can see, our combo is adding up. He's nearly down minute and 20 seconds in the fight. So this fight is definitely not any of the trickier fights in this war, but it serves as a good kind of ramp up material for my Aegon. And so yeah, here's he's like 3%. I'm just gonna drop a level 3 and finish the fight off. And then we're gonna have a bunch of mini boss fights, which I definitely enjoyed doing. But yeah, so Heimdall goes bye-bye, level 3 finish it off. Not a bad fight overall. So I'm not going to be taking on that Killmonger. I don't even have energy there. Next I checked in, my alliance mates left that Domino for me, so I'm going to add small boosts. I'm not going to boost big at all. I think I'm going with 10% attack boost and 20% champion boost, and that's it. I'm not going to add any health boost, I think, because I do not want to take away from suicides too much. But so once again we're going to be facing Domino, and we're going to be using Quake to do so. So Quake with Black Widow's energy should not have any problems in this fight whatsoever, because we're not going to be crit failing. There is no spite this time, so we can fully evade everything this Quake throws at us, this Domino throws at us. And yeah, it should be a fairly easy fight. She does have Safeguard on her, but Quake can bypass that as well with her Aftershocks and Black Widow. So we're going to see that she is going down incredibly fast. So first set of Aftershock charges, 50% now at this point, plus the suicide damage. So probably like another 1 or 2 sets of Aftershocks and she's going to be done. So here we go, she's at 20% now. And yeah, even if Safeguard would be limiting my damage output, the fight itself wouldn't change much at all, because as I mentioned, crit fail does not affect Quake if you have Black Widow's energy, so the fight would simply be extended by some margin, and that's it. And now I'm moving up, and I figured I might as well go to the right side, because there are 3 mini bosses left and we're going to be taking all 3 of them on. So this is Unduped 6-star Corvus, rank 2 on Counter Tactics Breakthrough Stun Immunity node. So there is nothing Quake can't handle. Only thing we need to be aware of that this Corvus is stun immune, so we're not going to have that pause of stun, like of resting time. Basically he's going to be trying to hit us constantly and consistently, but if you are used to playing Quake, then stun immune nodes isn't really the biggest issue. It's fairly easy to deal with them, and Corvus isn't like the trickiest opponent to Quake. And obviously Counter Tactics in this case does not come in play whatsoever, because well, we're not hitting him, so he's not getting any attack boost, but still, if he's gonna catch us, he's gonna hit us really hard, so we do need to be careful. But as we can see, slowly but surely that Corvus is ticking away. He is lunging at us, so that is kind of like stopping us from stacking a lot of these Aftershock charges, but still we get like 10, 11, which does good enough damage. And even on the small boosts, I'm fairly comfortable within my kind of like time. As we can see, minute in the fight, he's at 50%. We don't have much to worry about at all. We just need to kind of stay consistent, stay in our corner, dodge everything he throws at us, and the fight will go just fine. Now, one important thing that does make this fight a lot easier is the fact that this Corvus isn't duped. That means I do not have to kind of try and land a heavy attack or try and get rid of his glaive charges before killing him. So that means, yeah, we're just gonna Quake him till the end, and eventually he will drop, because if Corvus would be duped, even if we could get him down to like 1% health, we would be Quaking forever before he drops, because glaive charges would save him from dying. So that definitely makes this fight a lot easier, the fact that he was not duped. Otherwise we would have to kind of like find a different way how to deal with the last percent of the health. And then now the next fight is Mr. Sinister, and this guy has like enhanced recovery and strike back and some other stuff. But the one thing that we do care about in this fight is that he can be stunned, there is no limber, and the fact that he has enhanced recovery does not mean anything to us, because we're not going to be striking, and that means he's not going to be healing back anything. And yeah, also strike back node we don't care about, because we're not going to be shooting our special attacks. So essentially this is just like a regular arena fight for Quake, more or less, against a bit more stacked opponent. But as you can see here, 2 sets of Aftershock charges, 70% left on this guy, 71. So we are well within our time. Now, one thing that you can definitely notice is that my health is slowly but surely dipping away, and that is because opponents are maxing out on Despair Mastery. I definitely noticed that my Quake's health is dropping down a lot faster than it normally would be, because I'm not even all that boosted. I only had 10% attack boost and 20% champion boost. But yeah, so these fights do take some health away from my Quake just because I'm running suicides and Quake does not have any immunities. However, I still much prefer using Quake with suicides, especially in Alliance War, just because it helps you finish these fights out so much faster, and the fact that you finish fights faster leaves you with a lot kind of like less chance to make a mistake, because the longer the fight is, the longer you have to evade everything perfectly and the bigger the chance you are going to slip up. If you manage to seal off these fights quicker, that means that statistically you're much less likely to make a mistake and get hit. Now I do need to add a couple of health potions here in my Quake just to make sure that I do not dip below 18%, because if opponents have Assassin's Mastery, even like at 1 point, then Quake is basically done for, because then your evades will fail, they will connect a combo and you will die. So that is one important thing I definitely learned in off-season when I was trying to be cheap. Do not kind of like go in with Quake if you are already on low health, because if you're in Assassin's range, that fight's pretty much over. You're gonna die quickly. But yeah, so next mini boss is fully immune champion. So he's immune to every debuff, so also concussions, also stuns, but other than that, it's a fairly simple kind of fight. At this point, I remembered that my finger was starting to get a bit tired, because that happens when you Quake a lot in a short amount of time, but the fight is fairly simple. Champion's animations aren't too hard to evade with Quake, and as we can see here, slowly but surely he is going down at 67% currently, 40 seconds in the fight, and we're still maintaining our health level, which is perfectly fine. And yeah, the main thing is just not to slip up. Other than that, this is once again pretty much basic arena fight against a bit more stacked opponent. So at this point, the champion is on 46% of his health. I'm at 38%, so I still can take a couple hits and block if I want to, but obviously there's no need for it. So long as I don't slip up too badly, we should be perfectly fine. One thing you can notice that the champion is quite aggressive. He isn't really giving me too much of a breathing space for most part to stack up these concussions, so Quake's damage is lower than it normally would be, but we're still gonna get there. We are in absolutely no danger of timing out whatsoever, and so long as we get to these like 10, 11, 12 charges, we deal decent enough damage to comfortably take down this mini boss. Now the main boss was Thing, and which was the reason why I brought in Aegon, and I did actually end up going up against that Thing. I did end up soloing that Thing, but unfortunately, because it was like in the middle of work day, I was like running about and I simply forgot to record it. I'm sorry guys. I thought I recorded it. I didn't, so no boss action this time, but it was a solo. Super happy with that. And yeah, that will do for today. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit like button, hit sub button, hit all the buttons, share it with your alliance, share it with your friends, and let me know if you would like to see more Alliance War videos coming out from me. See ya.